All right, I ended up with the luck of the draw, well, on the motor anyway. I ended up with a unibody motorhome. I ain't never known they made a unibody, to be honest. But I guess, long story short, this thing's about a 1/4 inch different in width from left to right of the frame over here, the original frame. So I'm gonna put my dog to work. Copper, get to work, bro. We are gonna take this so-called K-frame. It doesn't bolt from this unibody setup. We're gonna center it back up to the original specifications on this as far as the front end. And I got a little mark right here each side, but I'll be like quadruple measuring that. And the rear end I'm going to put in here also, but I think I'm going to attempt using the motorhome springs first. See if those work. I'd prefer to use those. They're about 50 years newer. On the other end, we got this right here, the rear end. Like I said, this is a weird setup. The unibody, not exactly a frame, solely relies on everything around it, but I can use all the perches, springs, shocks, shackles, gas tank. My asshole friend drilled a hole in because he needed gas. Thanks, bro. Dick. Anyway, we're gonna yank the rear end out and all the components down to yeah, everything. The rest of this is gonna get cut up, scrapped, thrown away, whatever. This is the next step in our build. So welcome to continuing my journey. And when I end up bald with no hair at the end of this, looking like I got bicked down, you know. Bear with me. Alright, as I've lost half my hair. Anyway, we are unbolting like the K-frame setup on this thing. There was bolts under there. There's 3 bolts from the bottom side where those 3 holes are at. And then we have 2 bolts on the inner side. I did have to remove the motor mounts on both sides to get to the bolts behind them. The only way to do this properly. We gotta loosen that up with them shims, or simply just bend them out of the way. Get these last 2 bolts and everything else is undone. Steering, I'm keeping this steering with this front end. I'm going to try to use this as a complete unit. And that way, if I got to buy parts for it, this morphodite, I will simply just keep a notepad of the front ends out of this, the rear ends out of this. And we're going to set that up. In here, we've got the rear end about ready to go, but I want to do the front end first so I can kind of keep level, per se. I'm probably going to have to C-notch out the frame, but we've got the old springs on the ground and the new hardware from the motorhome over here. We'll get this all buttoned up. We'll put the rear end in after I get the height on the front. That way we can match everything up proper. I am going to flip those springs to the bottom side of that axle probably. I want this thing as low as I can get it on big wheels. Well, bear with me. We keep going. All right, exhausted. Back on it. Round like 12. 132 monsters in. We just got all the old rear spring setups, rear shackles, totally different style. So what I'm going to do is take the shackles out of that camper and adjust these leaf springs and U-bolts and everything more towards the pumpkin. About 6 inches on each side. I think it'll bring it in. Weld our new shackles on once we get everything like measured, cross measured, double measured, triple measured. Make sure this thing don't drive sideways down the road. So we should be good. I'm gonna keep on going. Just keeping up the progress here. We got to get that cab back inside. I keep saying I just been so busy, got another cars, another project going in there. But we're gonna keep on going. Bear with me. All right, back at our very, very slow process. I had to chrome it up while I was at it. Just kidding. No, I had to grind, cut. These things were on there pretty nasty. So we had brand new ones laying back here. But I like to tighten one side up to keep the pivot the same so that both sides match. So one side's snug, super pipe wrench. Don't mind me. Gas piper for years by trade. But there it is. That'll hold that all straight. Go ahead and pop my jack stand out of there. Get the other side tightened on. We get all that situated. We'll work on the front end, but I kind of got to find my height, an even height all the way along, because I do want to have this as low as I can have it, honestly. Just for the look. Now bear with me. We're going to get on the other U-bolt set. Keep on going. Alright, little by little, we just got our back little brackets. Something simple. 1/4 inch plate. Kind of cut her up, welded it in. We got our U-bolts kind of set up and tacked. I think I'm going to reverse this to actually lower this, so I didn't put too much of a tack on the mount of the axle itself. I'm going to move it if necessary. We nailed this real quick. Sorry about the ugly paint. I hid my beautiful welds, man. But we're going to work on the front end next. We got the steering components, the idler arm, steering box. All this is actually going to mount. I'm probably going to get it somewhere right here, nice and low. Same deal with the steering unit. Make sure you're square. That way you can get these wheels turning the way they're supposed to turn. Yeah. Alright, keep on watching, man. We're going to continue this project. Alright. We're simply making some brackets for the steering on the front. We got a 1/4 inch plate. I just simply welded it, made a couple studs to stick out, welded them on the back side, which I can't show you. I should have stopped. This is what it is. Just like the same on this side. We used pipe on the actual pump though. Cut a hole through the frame. And this is not finished work, but working on it. I got one more bolt to go, pardon me. And, we'll clean that up. I'm actually going to wire wheel everything there, clean it all up with the Brillo. I do want to give the frame a once over, get this all buttoned up. I did throw some black paint on this because I do occasionally slide it outside in the rain, and I don't want anything that I've opened up to just royally rust. We're going to figure out our gas tank next. Kind of situate, getting a few things in place. I think I'm going to have to notch a little bit of that front cross member. We now have this one to take its place anyway. Got to finish the weld there and the weld there. After this, we'll keep continuing on the video and whatnot. So our steering's in. Our suspension needs buttoned up on these outer sides as well. And we're going along pretty good. Bear with me, fellas. Cover dog. All right, we keep chipping away. We just got our front cross member. You can see where it was. Not super pretty. It's going to be under the vehicle. Just the first touch to it. I'm going to come back through. Got our stuff welded the rest of the way to the frame. Got in these little top brackets as well of the so-called K-frame. K for Keith. Got our steering working well. We got clearance actually about 3/8 of an inch, and it only gets bigger as it turns. So we're looking good so far. Both sides, everything's set up. We're looking pretty darn good. So bear with me, gentlemen. I'm gonna keep on pushing. We'll get the rest of this piece by piece. All right, here we go. I'm getting old. Yeah, simple scuff and buff. I wanted to get the insides kind of cleaned up where I won't be or have the access to get in there again after I drop in the motor and tranny. 350 turbo 400 tranny. We're gonna I got the mounts on the ground over there. I'm gonna clean them up in a minute, but I basically want to set this up before I drop that motor and tranny in here. I've got the cross member there over there as well, but I have a little more room on the sides of the tranny opposed to the sides of the motor. Excuse me, hiccups this morning. But basically there's only a couple pieces of the existing hardware shackles Rest of it's removed off here. Got everything ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and get this bad boy dropped in and keep on taping. All right, back at my late night mission. Part 47. I did just drop the motor and tranny. Took the existing cross member, which I'm not happy with. I'm actually going to modify this. This was supposed to go under, but would have been way too low, so we just simply tacked it in place for now. To be continued. It's all custom work. And being a van front end, these motors are offset to the passenger side by like 1.5 inches. So if you look at observe the exhaust manifold clearance to that frame rail, to this frame rail, it's right on it, and I actually notched it just a smidge to make sure that it all come out if I needed it to. Still got to box in our upper pieces there, but we're working right on through it. Looking pretty good. This motor actually only has 67 miles on it. Don't mind the rust. This baby's brand new. There's a sticker on it here somewhere, but it's good. Range 350. Actually, there, the gaskets are brand new. You can see some of this stuff on this thing is actually in really, really good shape. But we're going to keep on pushing, and I'm going to work my way back. I wanted the area around the motor, inside and outside on the frame, painted up, just kind of cleaned up. So I can work my way around after, but you can't really get in there with many tools when you got a motor in the way. We are going to use the original radiator. It's still good. Green fluid, no leaks. It's still holding after 30 years of sitting, believe it or not. Cool story. Old guy came by that sold this to me. Pretty impressed what I had done with it. Wanted to show him today, and we're simply going through cleaning every piece I can get my hands on. All the arms and everything else as we go. But don't let me bore you. I'll talk your ear off. But there it is. We're going to continue next segment of the video. Hopefully I can get the rest of this frame all situated. Then we're going to be ready to start test fitting like cab. And we're going to come back to the suspension height at the end when I pick out my wheels. And I got the body on so I can tell exactly how we're sitting on height, clearance, turn radius, everything to do with it. So don't overdo yourself. One piece at a time. All right. Progress. Update. It's still broken, but it's going together quick. Excuse me. Simply cleaning up all the metal still. A lot of it getting that old coating on. Like I said 10 times before, this 75-year-old metal is actually in excellent shape. Few spots, whatnot. We're about ready to figure out a drive line. Get that built, whipped out. I know I'm going to have to run the carrier bearing for it, but not this one from 1947. Motor's dirty. She cleans right up. 60 miles on her. Get the shocks mounted. And like this up here, we simply flat blacked out. Got a little dirty and dusty from everything else. But we're going to do the rest of the frame. Inside, out, below, top to bottom. It won't have an old brake line, wire, nothing. I think we're going to clean up the springs and everything else. We're giving her hell. Bear with me. Keep watching. We got this. And I got a surprise for the cab. Just wait. All right. Simply working our way. I should have took pictures before, but just starting to get it painted up again with this whole darn thing with wire wheels and sander discs and everything else. There's other alternatives, that's like soda blasting, sand blasting, stuff like that. Honestly, on this one, probably would have worked a little better, a little faster to my advantage. But I got everything here. Figured I'd try to stay warm. Keep waking up, it's like 20 degrees up here in Washington. I need to be back in Vegas, man. Late night, we still going. We got an issue. This has got to move back about 3 inches just behind the back of the bumper here. So that's going to put us where our front bracket on the cab, we're actually, for now, we're just going to lop these off. I can do the rest of the body cleaning. I went ahead and sprayed underneath everything earlier. to simply coat the stuff that I could not get to. So if we do lop these off flush with the flat sitting of this thing, I think I'm going to have to make a different bracket that goes inward instead of down, or modify the downward bracket to right here, and then it'll fit around our new front assembly. So I kind of screwed myself, but overall, that, and I think the distributor cap, we got about 8-9 inches from hitting the floor pan. We're going to be probably about 2 inches shy by the time I drop. This piece right here sits on the frame. Bam. So we got about probably 10-11 inches right there. A couple close calls, but overall, we're looking pretty good almost everything else. I'm pretty satisfied. We're going to keep on pushing. I can't hold my homie over here hostage too long. He's a big ass dog. We're going to make the dog hold it up. Don't mind me. Bear with me. All right, here we go. Yeah, I had my hands a little busy running the forklift, so I wasn't able to videotape dropping this on the frame. But, there we go. A little bit late, whatnot. One little issue. I can fix that later. Other than that, actually, let's get a good look in there so you see what I did. We got a radiator hose, AC, which I think I'm just going to move that to a lower setup. And then, like I showed in the previous video, these brackets right here had to be modified slightly. I cut them off right there above the A-arms. But I'm going to rebuild new ones, better ones. And literally, the mounting bolts almost lined up all the way around on this thing. We had a pretty good spacing. I did paint most of the stuff inside of this thing. Get a little scuff with the wire wheel. All the black stuff in there. We're going to finish stripping this, and I sprayed the bottom side pretty good with the black Rust-Oleum flat too. But man, I'll tell you what, this setup is out of that motorhome, and man, all these little doodads of transmission oil dipsticks, oil filler tube. The only thing that didn't really fit all the way was that AC. Now I can slowly do some of this body, tear it back off, a couple pieces of it, and work with the rest of it from up above. And yeah, I'm glad I got a lot of this clean under here and sprayed up already. But we got some room. Now I got more of a height. Pretty well set. I did put a couple bolts in on these brackets right here. And some of the stuff I'm going to have to pull back apart. But I simply had some help tonight, and I had to utilize it. A lot of stuff I do by myself. Long story short though, man, she looks pretty good. I think we're going to drop her about 3 to 4 inches in the front and try to match that in the back. But I did want the body in place before we did that. So we're looking pretty good. I'm very happy. Not very happy about the couple scratches. I had to put my brand new paint, man. But it looks pretty good. I think this thing's going to overall be pretty good. I am trying to make a car hauler. I think I made a little bit of a mismeasurement on the distance of the bed. But this metal is so thick on this frame, I'm honestly probably just going to cut it somewhere midsection and move it back. Or basically, hold on, take the metal and magically push it apart. No, but if I add about 3 feet, I think we got it. And that way I can, like everybody else, man, I think it's the coolest thing in the world to put an old school on an old school. It'll be a pretty cool looking ride. Well, bear with me. Probably end this video with this little section, and we'll start the new chapter of a new video. Thanks for watching, fellas. Alright, we are getting down to the nitty gritty. Whole bunch of it. Simply, I wanted to tear into this body while it was on the frame, so it'd be a little easier to put some, or apply the pressure. Really get in there and tear this crap off. We're going to lead everything off the firewall except for this tube. I'm going to leave the factory radiator in. So we're simply just tearing through this whole thing now. Did simply modify a few little things. We're going to go ahead and tear all this out, tear all the wiring switches, everything else out. few little dents and whatnot. We're really gonna get into the metalwork now. But we really got our frame cleaned up. Sorry about the lighting. Kind of situated, tore into it as deep as I could go without creating more damage. Got to wrap up our drive line, of course. If you look in there, we got a little bit to paint up, savvy in, but overall, man, shoot, thanks for following me on the journey. We're gonna get this thing all buttoned up, work it out, figure out what color. I like two-tone, but I do want to tear this all the way down into the metal and just simply do it right. I know that it's gonna take a lot. Headlight buckets, big issue, but I'm just gonna hand build them. AC pump, we're gonna remove and modify that maybe to over here or off to the side a little bit. Couple custom brackets. It's not the first time I've done it. We got this. Bear with me. We'll keep on going. I hope you see what you like. A like and a subscribe. Well, I'm out here freezing my butt off. Got my little fireplace going. Alright, so I'll continue in a minute when we get a little farther on this thing. Alright, back at it. Got my inspiration back up. We got some metal work to fix, boys. Woo! We're gonna probably cut this out. Maybe down to like right here. I might follow the body line up just to be able to follow this line. Other than that, we're getting everything cleaned off the firewall. I kind of got a mess going, so I'm gonna probably have to come back through here, pressure wash everything off. But it is clean under there, but we're starting to get all dusty along everything else. We are pulling out everything under the dash, all this old stuff. Man is 75 years old. It got to go. Got to go. Unless she's rich, got deep pockets, and I got scuba gear on. It ain't gonna pan out. So we're simply just gonna finish cleaning everything off, get this windshield out. I'm gonna have a new one of those made. Pull off our remaining lights and items and stuff. And I also want to break these fenders off the body now that we got it mounted to the frame. A lot easier to work with. I've got the pieces worked with that I needed from underneath so far anyway. And we can continue on to the doors, just getting all this little riff-raff out of here, clean it all up, give it a good Rust-Oleum coat, and then I think I'm gonna prime the whole thing. Well, bear with me, gentlemen. We're gonna keep on pushing. All right, we just removed the front glass. Had some hinges up high, 2 of them. Kind of a goofy setup on these. The bolt in, you literally got a twist in the center of the screen, by the way, where the holes are at. There, right there, 2 7/16. Got a hinge kind of wedged up in there, and mine were locked up, so I wiggled the hell out of them. I was able to get them loose. These button knobs pop off, they unthread, and they come through these plates right here. So I almost broke them both. And the windshield wipers are next. Lights. I'm gonna keep on moving with hopefully not too much catastrophic damage here. Oh man, this is a nightmare. Well, we do though, so bear with me. I'm gonna keep on going. Start cleaning up my mess. 16,000 gross, man. This thing will haul a house. A really big chick. All right, man. I'm running out of wind. Anyway, we are just busting through this, kind of cut into the windshield area. I showed previously the firewall's ready to go. Piece by piece, panel by panel, we're stripping it all the way down to bare metal. Steps are going to come off every piece. These are actually brass underneath. That was kind of the thing back in the day. Let me zoom out here a little bit. Alright, and there that is. We're working our way through there, getting everything down to bare metal. Got a lot of this stripped out. Trying to get a good shot here, and I got that covered up. Actually going to be cutting these corners right here. There's one other section I don't like. I'm going to cut that out on the square, probably all the way there and all the way over here. and basically build a new panel, drill a new hole, and use our same bolt setup with the brand new bolt. Work this out. Next thing's next. Maybe pressure wash the front of that motor, clean that up, and cover it with plastic as well. Clean all that back up. Maybe mask some of this off. These are going to be coming off as soon as I get a few more bolts in the body. But I also want to, on the bottom side, back side of this metal, I want to weld in and remake these edges. Basically, I'm going to have to do it by hand. I don't think I'm going to be able to find parts. About the only lights I'll probably be using of original are these turn signals. Other than that, we're going to keep on shoving through this thing. And yeah, bear with me for the ride. This is going to be gross.